Today we're going to be talking about load balancing on bare metal. And my guest is Xuetao Song. And Xuetao is a software engineer at Beijing Yunify Technology Company. Thank you very much for joining us, Xuetao.
Thank you.
And we also have a translator here with us today, so we're going to try to help facilitate the conversation a little bit. So I'm going to give a quick overview of the bare metal with load balancing. Then I'd like to ask you about Porter. Okay?
Okay.
So when we think about open source load balancing on bare metal, we talk about how back-end workloads are typically exposed using a load balancer in a Kubernetes cluster, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, and typically, load balancing plugins are provided by cloud provider by for Kubernetes, correct?
Yes, yes.
And that often requires deployment to a specific cloud or infrastructure.
Yes.
Yes. And so when you work on premise with bare metal clusters, when you work on your own environment with bare metal clusters, Kubernetes does not offer an implementation for load balancing.
Yes.
So Porter exists as an open source solution to the issues of load balancing on bare metal in production on Kubernetes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So when we talk about that, can you explain Porter? What is Porter, and why did you develop it?
Porter is like its name. It is a porter to bring load balancer to bare metal Kubernetes.
Okay.
He has three functions. One is load balancing, is its name. Two is exposed service. Three is IP access management.
Okay. So tell us about number one in more detail.
Okay. The porter uses ECMP to implementing load balancing. ECMP, its full name is Equal Cost Multipass. It's a module in Linux kernel. Use ECMP, we can have different ways to single service. If we have different ways to single service, we have high availability. Even one of these nodes down, the service is still on. It have no effect to users. We also use BGP to broadcast these routes. We have different routes, but we have to broadcast these routes. So we use BGP. BGP, its full name is Border Protocol Gateway.
Mm-hmm.
Or Border Gateway Protocol.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. It can tell his neighbor. Most time, his neighbor is a router. He can tell the router the passes. So, and it is dynamically. We can broadcast the route on runtime without 事先准备。
So we can do it without prepare it in advance.
Okay.
It is dynamically and without any human operations. Also, we use BGP to connect the user's router and our service. With BGP, even you have just two nodes under the service, we can have multiple routes to this service.
Okay.
So if you have 3 layer routers, use BGP, and each row layers have 2 routers. We can have 2. 乘号乘以乘法 multiple two and two multiple two have 8 passes to our service. So we have much more high availability.
Okay. So then you said there's 3 aspects of Porter. That's number 1.
Yes.
What is number 2?
Exposed service. Yes, exposed service. We know in Kubernetes, the service IP, the IP of service is a virtual IP. We cannot access out of the cluster. We can just access in the cluster, just in the nodes which is in this cluster. Outside, the user cannot directly access the service, the IP of service. So we have to expose this IP of service to outside, so the service can be served, the service can be used. So we use BGP to broadcast a route, and we also use IP access management to give the service an external IP. The external IP can be accessed by outside. We maintain the relationship between the external IP and the cluster IP. We just write some IP rules, IP tables, to let the traffic from outside can be reached to the service.
Okay. And then you have the third aspect of Porter. What is number 3?
Number 3 is IP access management. In bare metal Kubernetes and in many enterprises, they care about the security of IP. They do not want the IP the service can be exposed casually. The IP of service can be exposed casually. So we have to control the IP. They also want some dynamic. They also want some 自主配置.
They also want to use some automatic orchestration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Declarative.
Yes.
Automated. Right.
Yes. They both want automated, but also want control.
Control, right.
The IP of external IP of service cannot use the casually. So we develop IP access management in the portal. We can use this module to control the service, the external IP of service. You can set a static IP of this service. By other means, you can control the IP of the service. Second, we can set a CIDR for a namespace. So whatever service in this namespace, the external IP is in this CIDR.
Okay. How does your company use Porter?
We just use Porter to connect our ICE. ICE is our cloud.
Oh, it's your cloud.
Right.
And it's
Yes.
on bare metal.
Yes. We use
You just say ask her in Chinese. Yeah.
就是说我那个 Porter 一方面要跟裸金属沟通，然后跟 ICE 沟通，然后 ICE 我们的 ICE 用 BGP。bare metal。ICE 就是云平台。
So for our portal, on one hand, we have to connect it with bare metal, and also on the other hand, we have to connect it with our cloud platform IC.
Okay. So you have to do both.
Yes. Both of them are connected by BGP.
Okay. The BGP is the piece between. Then it's in the middle. Then yeah.
Yes, BGP is the is like post mail of our infrastructure.
Uh-huh.
He tell everything to the outside.
He's the porter.
Yes, yes,
He helps communicate.
yes, yes,
He talks from he listens to the load balancing environment and communicates it to Kubernetes then.
yes. We have multiple BGP, so the information is transformed from one BGP to another BGP. So all the complicated network can be connected.
Okay. So the complicated metalwork can be connected, and it cannot connect unless there is the porter.
Yes.
And so there might be multiple porters that work together.
No,
Just one porter.
just the one port.
Just one porter.
Porter is serving Kubernetes, and other network is using its BGP to connect our porter.
Okay. So why did you decide to take this approach? What problems were you having before you started using Porter?
Because in Kubernetes, we have three approaches to expose service. Just let the users can access the service. One is node port. Node port is node port using a large port with a node to access the service. Almost like 192.168.1.1.
Okay.
And with a large port, often it is 五位数怎么说？五位数的端口。
5 digits.
A 5-digit port.
Digits.
It is hard to remember. Also, we bind all the service to this node. So if the node is down, our service looks like down too.
Ah.
Another way is ingress. Ingress using engines to expose service. However, we have no ingress for ingress itself.
Ah.
Ingress cannot expose himself to outside. He must use node port or load balancer to expose itself. Node port has the problem we see before, and the load balancer is third way. The balancer, but it only can be used in cloud provider, but cannot use in bare metal. So people feel hard to expose service in bare metal Kubernetes.
I see. So the load balancer in Nginx does not necessarily have the capability that you need. You needed Porter to help communicate between the bare metal and Kubernetes.
不能这么说的，不能这么。
Not the case.
Not the case. Okay.
Yes, not, ingress is a good choice to expose service because it uses domain to represent the service. It is used very frequently in Kubernetes, but it has a problem to expose itself. It cannot work before it's exposed to outside. Porter can expose it to outside.
Okay. Okay. What is your tell me about your company. What does your company provide?
My company is Yunify, and my Yunify is doing a lot of work in cloud computing, and also database. This year we pay attention to container. We think container is 不可阻挡的趋势是吗？
It's the trend.
Okay. So containers are an irreversible trend.
Yes, yes, yes.
And containers, and so you provide services to customers,
Yes, yes.
and the services are for application development. What are the services that you provide? Hosting?
Hosting, and database, and container, and also for some enterprise we deploying some private cloud for them.
Okay. And do these cloud providers mostly have bare metal?
Yes, yes. They like bare metal. They think bare metal is fast and security.
Mm-hmm. And so you now offer Porter to these customers?
Yes, yes.
Are they adopting Kubernetes?
Yes, of course.
Why?
Kubernetes is more flexible than virtual machines, and we can have multiple ports in Kubernetes. So the custom or our custom feels Kubernetes is like me 我们的客户也觉得 K8s 也是一个不可阻挡的趋势，他们觉得 K8s 才是他们企业他们就是组织应用的未来。
Our clients also feel that Kubernetes is an irreversible trend and also the future for their development.
Ah. Are they learning DevOps too?
Yes, yes. We have DevOps. We have a brand called KubeSphere. It has DevOps.
So Porter now is a service you offer?
Yes. Entry. It is an entry service in KubeSphere.
Okay, and KubeSphere is your product?
Yes, yes.
And so KubeSphere provides a managed service with Kubernetes and Porter?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been using Porter with Kubernetes?
About 6 months, yes.
Okay. What are you finding? What are you learning through your customers about Porter and Kubernetes? How are they using it? How are they? What are the challenges they face?
When we promote the Porter to our client, they seems feel a bit refused to BGP. But when I explained the principle to them, they will try, but they will not open all the BGP in on all of their routers. They just open one router, just connect the Kubernetes clusters. So we can just talk to one routers. So the other process have to be done in human. They feel BGP is less security, but I think this is a mistake.
How do you give them confidence that it is secure?
We just because in Yunify, in my company, we use BGP to connect our network. We have thousands of machines using BGP, so we just put our cases to them. They trust us.
They trust you because you've shown it works for you.
Yes.
So what's next for Porter?
As I say, some clients is still worrying about BGP, so we will begin to think using other protocol instead of BGP to broadcast the paths, like ARP or some other route protocol, for example OSPF, and also we want to make our portal more flexible, so we can have more control on IP, and also we have to support more feature in BGP, because BGP is a collection of features, so we have to support more features to that users can use more feature to control how the route, how the path broadcast to the external.
Okay. So what is your next development for Porter inside your own company? What do you want to do to make Porter better for you?
Let me think about it. As my company is focused on enterprise clients, so what they say is mostly what we have to do.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. We wish you the very best, and I know you're speaking about Porter tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow 12.
We look forward to following Porter and keeping in touch, so thank you very much for your time. I've been joined by, please pronounce your name for us again.
Xuetao Song.
Xuetao Song. And Xuetao is with Beijing Yunify Technology Company. They are a service that provides bare metal solutions to its customers.
Yes.
This is an interesting development. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for helping us with the translation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yang.